Good morning and welcome to this month's Thinking Thursday. We're going to look at mail merge with Microsoft Word and Google Docs. So we'll look at both of those just briefly so you get an idea of how they work. So with both of them, you will need two things to create a mail merge. One, you'll have a document, so whether you're comfortable with Word, if you have Word still at your district, or if you're using Google Docs. So they work a little bit differently. Um, and then the second thing you will need is the spreadsheet of where the data is coming from. So the first part of this, we're going to look at Microsoft Word. So you should be seeing my Microsoft Word screen in front of us. We're just going to create a quick little document. Um, Nothing extravagant, but so think about mail merge as something that you want to take data from, whether it's student names, grade levels, maybe parent names, addresses, things like that, and you want to bring them into a document that you already have. So with that being said, I have a quick little letter that I want to send out to parents to congratulate their students for academic excellence. And we're going to have a little reception for them tonight at 6 p.m. So in this case, I want to be able to fill in the parent's name or the parents of the student's name, and then maybe the student's name within the document. So it seems a little bit more personable. I can also include addresses, things like that. So, with that being said, where am I going to get my information from? You might already have a spreadsheet that you've already created. You might want to create a spreadsheet on the fly. So, my suggestion, you don't have to use this, but my suggestion is one of the tools that we already have is using our easy query. So, if I want to get information about my students, so I'm just going to do a quick, easy query student search. I'm going to go through and get my students' first names, last name, and I'm going to do their building grade level so I can filter. So the nice thing is that I can filter out when I am in my mail merge. So if I would just want to pick one grade level at a time, I can do that. So it's nice to have some type of filtering option. My address, so I'm gonna pick my mailing address, and I'm gonna choose address 2 in here as well, just so I can show you that if it is not available or if there's no data in there when you're creating the mail merge, it'll just leave it blank. So it's nice you don't have to be like, oh, well, maybe it's used, maybe it's not used. It just leaves that complete area blank so you don't have to worry about it. And then, there's other things that you can do. I'm going through this kind of quickly, so I'm just going to get their address um, and then I'm going to move on. So it's telling me what I'm getting here, my first name, last name, grade level, and then the mailing addresses. And I'm going to do a quick download as a CSV. So as long as it's a CSV, then I can open it in Excel, and that's what it is looking for. So I'm going to hit finish. Remember, when you're doing an easy query, it does a download. So it does not go into your management. So it actually does a download to your computer. So here's my download. I'm going to open it. And you probably want to see that. So moving it onto this screen. So here's all my information. So my student's first name, last name, my grade level, and then my mailing address for the student. Okay. So I have all this information in here. Now, if I minimize this, I'm going to go back to my Word document. So now if I want to put in some of my information into the letter that I've created, So I do suggest that if you create a letter, just leave spaces where you know that you want the information to populate. This will be a separate saved file. Then once you merge it, then you can save the merged file completely differently. So think of this as kind of like your base or your template that you are creating. So I'm going to go to my mailings tab. So once I go to my mailings, you should see it says start a merge, a mail merge. So then it says, well, what do I want to start with? And I am creating a letter. If you're doing some type of labels, anything like that, you can pick your labels. You can pick the label Avery size and so forth. So you can have that right there on your screen. And I know SIS does a lot of labels for us, but sometimes we want to do different labels with different things on there that maybe a SIS report does not provide for us. So I'm going to choose letter. So it's going to look here at the letter that I had up on my screen because I already had it typed into this document. And then now you can see because I started that, now it's going to start opening up some of these other grayed out items. So my next one is my select recipients. This is where I need to get that spreadsheet. So I downloaded that Easy Query spreadsheet. So now I want to use it. So I did not change the location. I know that that downloaded into my downloads folder. If you are using a detailed spreadsheet, know where you have that saved, whether it's on your desktop, your documents folder, or even if you do create an easy query off the fly, you might want to save it and give it a location so you're not searching through your downloads folder. So you do have the option to type in a list. You can type it right in here if you want. I always do suggest using an existing list because that pulls from a spreadsheet. So I'm going to say use an existing list. Now it's going to ask me to go find that spreadsheet that I just downloaded. So again, if you had it saved someplace else, you would go to wherever your spreadsheet is downloaded. So I'm going to go to my downloads, and here is my spreadsheet that I downloaded. So I'm going to hit open. Oh, I have it open somewhere. Let's try that again. I had it open. So I'm going to say go through that again. I did not want that open. It just opens a read only copy if you have it open currently. So I'm going to say open. Okay. So now you can see that all of my buttons are, most of them are now available. So they're no longer grayed out. So basically what it does is as soon as I select that existing list, it kind of links those two together. It links the document and the spreadsheet together. So if I click on my edit recipient list, you will see my spreadsheet. So it's looking at those same headings that I had in that download, my last name, my first name, my grade level, and then the mailing address. So mailing one, mailing two, city, state, and zip. Okay. So you notice also here, you can do things that you would normally do in Excel. So if I wanted to filter out my grade level, I can say, okay, I'm going to filter and I want my building grade level to be equal to, I'm going to do this for my 11th graders. So I'm going to say, okay. And then here are all of my 11th graders and I'm going to click OK. So now it is just going to show me the data for those 11th graders. If I don't filter it out, if I don't pick anything here, it's going to show everything that was saved in that spreadsheet. So you don't have, these are optional. I'm already sorted alphabetically, so I don't need to sort. And then the filtering is optional. So now the next thing that I want to do is start inserting some of my fields. So those would be the column headings from my data source or from my spreadsheet. So if I look here where it says insert merged fields, All of those headings that we saw in that spreadsheet are going to be listed here. So first name, last name, building, and then my mailing addresses. So if I want to say to the parents and the guardian of my student's first name and last name, I'm going to say, okay, to the parents of first name. Notice it puts the brackets around it automatically. Um, and it puts it exactly where my cursor is. So because my cursor is right after the bracket, if I insert my next merge field of last name, it would have the first and last name without a space. So I have to space it out just like I would it how I want to see it. So I'm going to hit my space bar and then where my cursor is, I'm going to say insert last name. And then that populates. And then I don't want a space and I want the colon after it. So it's going to populate that student's first name and last name. And then in here, we would like to extend our congratulations for, and then I'm going to put the students just their first name in here. Okay. I can also add things like an address block. So if I come up to my address block, not much is going to show here except for the first and last name because it's not sure exactly what all the fields are. So this can be very helpful if it is set up correctly. But at this point in time, it's not set up correctly. So I would have to match the fields. So I can click right here and click on match fields, or I can come up here on my toolbar because this is now available and I can say match fields. And then you can see here where it says address. Okay, it automatically picked first name and last name. It knew that. But my address line was really long. It was called mailing address street. So it does not know that. So now if I put that in here, I can put in my address too, and then my city, state, and zip and say okay. So now if I click on my address block, now it's going to fill in more information. So it's going to look at that and it's going to say, okay, let's match the first name, last name, and it knows how to set up an address. So it automatically puts it in the proper format for you. You can also preview the different recipients. So if you look here, I'm on my first one and mine are alphabetically. So if I scroll through them, you're going to see that it goes through there. Now remember, I had address street 2 and notice there's no blank space or anything there because it's saying, "Hey, it's not there." So we're just going to leave it blank and we're not even going to, put a space there for it. So as long as everything matches up and it looks the way you want, if you want that address block, I can click OK and it's going to put in that code for the address block. So we have our merge set, and then there's two things that we can do. We can go through our preview files. So if I click on preview, it's going to pull up the address block and then to the parents of, and it's going to fill in the student's name. And then here we just pick the student's first name, so it populates that as well. And then I can scroll through these and look at them one at a time. So with that being said, this is still, remember, this is my base or my template letter. So I have not officially merged anything yet. So if I would save this, it is actually saving the merge fields. So it's going to have that in the letter. When I am ready to actually print my document or have my document available, then I'm going to come to this last one. And this is where it says finish and merge. So you can see right now, and I don't have mine saved because I just copied and pasted this earlier. But this is document one. When I actually finish this, it is actually going to create a new document that everything is merged and these merged fields will disappear. So these will be, so they'll display, or if I click on preview, then it shows that actual data. So just depending on what you have. But again, this is still my template letter. So now I want to finish this off. You can see I can send this directly to the printer, which if I did that, you guys wouldn't see anything. So I'm going to skip over that. But depending on how many recipients I have, it would automatically print all of those for me. So, for example, if you were printing labels, it would automatically merge and print them for you. We're going to go into the edit individual document. So basically what this does is it completes the merge, but it does not print it for you. So once I say edit individual documents, okay, it's going to say which ones do you want to do. Now, if you did not want all of them, maybe you only wanted the first 10. So you can say from pages 1 to 10, or maybe the one that you're looking at. So I'm looking at the fourth one in my spreadsheet. Maybe I only want that one, and it would only print that one or populate it as a new document. So I'm going to click OK, and it's going to merge all of my records. And then you can see here that it populates it. So then if I scroll down, I have 28 pages. So each one is on its own separate page. So you can see everyone is merged. I cannot go back in and edit those merge fields because when you click on that finish and merge, it completes the merge. And notice now I have two separate documents. I have my base or my letter template that I created, and then I have the one that completed the merge and it called it letter one. So you can actually save those separately because if you want to run this again or use this again for a different grade level or a different group of kids, you can go back through, select different recipients. Maybe you want to adjust, you can do that. Once you finish and merge, now you have to edit everything individually. So, if you didn't like the ending on in the mail block, you would have to go through each one of these and you would have to delete it on each one. Um, or maybe let's see, we'll go, where's my Jonathan? Well, we'll do Benjamin. So maybe Benjamin goes by Ben or Benny. So maybe in this part, instead of saying Benjamin, maybe you want to edit this one individually and say Benny because that's what he goes by. Keep it formal, maybe in the address block and the greeting, but in the actual document, you wanted to personalize it a little bit. And then if you wanted to, change anything for any of these documents, you could. And then you would print as normal and you would save as normal. Any questions with using the mail merge feature in Microsoft Word? Again, a lot of these will not be visible until you actually select the recipient, so you have that data sheet in there or that spreadsheet, and then you can start inserting your merge fields. Okay. And of course, you can get more in depth. Your letters can be longer. You can have more of your merged fields. You can have bigger spreadsheets, whatever it might be. This was just a quick overview so you can see how these automatically populate from the spreadsheet and so forth. If I have this set up, so I have my base letter set up and I want to go to a different spreadsheet. I can come back here, say use existing spreadsheet. I can find a different one and then it's automatically going to update um, what is in the document. And then if any of those merged fields are different, they would populate in this list as well. So you can change your spreadsheets as you're working with your base document. Okay, if there are no questions, I don't see any in the chat. We are going to move on to creating a mail merge in Google. So I know most of our districts are Google districts. So it's kind of the same concept as you are working in a Microsoft Word document as you are in Google, except I do have a few little tips to have prior to starting your merge. So, one, I am going to go to my Drive folder. So, I do suggest when you are creating a mail merge that you create a folder first. Because when you are creating the merge within Google Drive, it will populate whether it's a document or a PDF of every um, merged file, and it'll populate that in your drive if you don't create a folder. So I always suggest creating a folder so everything gets stored in there so it doesn't completely blow up your drive. So I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm just going to call this mail merge. Okay. So within this, you can create your document. So if you wanted your document in here, you can populate that. So I already have mine created. So this is just my base. So if I wanted to move it into that mail merge folder, I can do that. So I click on the little folder with the arrow and I can say, okay, I want to move it into my mail merge folder. But see, since I just created that folder, it's right at the top. So it's very easily accessible if you kind of go in this order. So I had my document, whether you created it already or you're going to create on the fly, but I want to put it in that mail merge folder. So I'm going to move mine in there so it's in there. If you don't have your document created, right from here, you can say new and create your document and it'll create it in this folder. So either way, if you had it already created or you're going to create it as you're going. So this is a little bit different because when you are creating your document, you have to know what they call data tags. So you have to know what the data tags are from the spreadsheet. So in Microsoft Word, as soon as you attached the Excel spreadsheet, it automatically took those headings from the top of the spreadsheet and allowed you with the drop down arrow to insert those merged fields. Well, it's not as straightforward when you are working in docs. So you can see here I have dear and it's blank. And then I have, we are glad that the district participated in the mail merge training on March 6th. Okay. So I want the district name to go in there. So I have to know exactly what the spreadsheet headings are because I have to type in the tags with the brackets around it. So when we were working in Word, it automatically put the brackets around it. Now I have to do that myself. So I would create my spreadsheet. So whether you upload it, so if you created something from Easy Query, you can upload it into Drive. I'm just using our training today. So I only have 5 different column headings. These have to be exactly as is, or it will not automatically match them. You will have the option to match them, but it is just easier to copy and paste. So if I want to say dear in the first name, I'm just going to click on this cell and I'm just going to copy it. So I'm going to do a control C. So now when I'm in my mail merge, I'm going to put bracket, bracket. Okay. And then I'm going to paste what it said. And then I'm going to do my close brackets. Okay. So a lot of people call these the alligator brackets. So it's the greater than, less than symbol. So you do have to have two of them. And then any punctuation, things like that. So I'm gonna put my comma. I already did the district one. So if you look here, it says district. So, and I made sure that that was exactly the same. So now I'm done with my document. Okay. So you think, okay, well, I'm going to go into my mail merge. You actually don't do mail merge from the document when you're in Google. So it's opposite of Microsoft Word. So if you're in here, it's something called Autocrat. If you're in here and you're like, where is Autocrat? I don't see it. It's because you don't actually do it from the document. You actually do it from the spreadsheet. So I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet. Okay. So now from my spreadsheet, I'm going to go to my extensions. So this is an add-on. So I have something in here called Autocrat. If you do not have Autocrat listed, which you might not, you will click on where it says Get Add-ons. So once I click on Get Add-ons, I can say Get Add-on, and then you would be able to search the apps and you would look for Autocrat. And then you would install this. Okay. Some districts automatically install it. For teachers, you might have to just install it individually for yourself, but it is called Autocrat. Okay. Then once that is installed, then it will be in your list. So extensions, and you will see Autocrat. My first time through, I'm going to say open. Um, but before I click on that, um, it's not- did they move it on me? I was just in it the other day. Nope, I don't want that. There is a help file. It might be once I click on open. Huh, I don't know where it disappeared to. Um, Maybe once I run it the first time, but there is a help file that will go through all of these steps that I'm going to go with you. There are 9 steps. It seems like a lot, but truly it's not a lot. It's pretty quick. So my first time through, I do have to create my new job. If you already have a job running, it would be listed there with a pencil for the ability to edit and or the play symbol to be able to run it. So my first time through, I'm creating it, so it's going to be a new job. And then we are going to start on those 9 different steps. So the first thing is naming it. So what do you want your mail merge name to be? This basically is for your reference. This doesn't show up anywhere else except when you open the Autocrat screen. Um, I'm going to call this attendance letter. Okay. And be careful because you don't want to just click on save right away because remember I said we have 9 steps. So it looks like you just want to click save, but we actually want to click on next so we can go through all of the steps. If you do accidentally click on save, it will just take you back and you can click on the pencil to get back into each of the steps. So I'm going to click on next. Now it says choose your template that you want to use. Okay. So this is either a Word doc, a Google Doc, or you can actually do this from a Google slide. So like if you wanted a printer certificate or something like that, it would be the same concept as my document. I would have to put those brackets within my Google slide. I'm not going to go through that today. I'm just going to use my mail merge document. So I'm going to find this from my drive, and you'll see these are ones that I've recently used. Okay, but I'm going to use the one from drive, and I'm going to look for my Google document called mail merge. Now, if you were just working on it, typically it does show up right at the top. If not, you might have to search for it. So I'm going to select my mail merge, and then I'm going to hit select. And then you'll see now it says that this is the currently selected template. Okay, so again, this is my base letter or my template. And then again, I'm going to click on next. Oh, here's the help guide. So that didn't populate on screen 1, but again, has screenshots and directions for all 9 of these steps that I'm going to talk about. Okay. So then next, it's going to say, okay, where is your data coming from? So my data is coming from sheet one. So it's coming right from here. So I have to tell it what tab that it's coming from. So if you have a large spreadsheet that maybe you've been using for the last couple years and you have, 24, 25, 23, 24, 22, 23, you would pick the sheet that you want to use. So don't think that just because you have multiple things in here, um, that, you can't use it. You would just pick the one that you want. Okay, and it's saying that, it's because it's looking at my, uh, first row, and my first row does not have my column headings in it. So, if I look here, it's saying, "Okay, there's a tag," and this little tag means that it's unmatched. So it's not matched with anything. So, and actually, before I move on, my header row, I need to change my header row. So it's data row. It needs to be in row two. You wouldn't have to change this if your first name, last name, and district was in the first row like it should be. You wouldn't have to change this, but mine's in the second row, so that's why I'm changing it. So you can see now because I changed and said my header row is in row two, it said, okay, first name. Okay, I'm going to match it with first name. District. Oh, okay, I'm going to match it with district. But if I go back to, and I might get that error again. Yep. So now I have those unmatched tags that it shows you the little symbol that it's not matching anything. And it's saying, hey, it's only seeing this. It's because it's looking in row one. So if then data starts in row three. Okay. So make sure that I have these. So if you don't match it correctly or if you don't copy and paste like I did, you just might have to click on the drop down and pick the correct one. For example, if you used first name and with a space and your data sheet actually had first name without a space, it would not match it and you would just click on it and then it would match. Okay, so now I'm going to click on next, and this is where I'm going to give the file a name. So, for example, I always suggest using one of your tags in the file name. So, I'm going to use my brackets and I'm going to say first, oops, and spell it correctly, first name, or you can copy and paste again. Or you can do last name, for example. Maybe I'll do last name on this one. And then whatever file name you want. So this is going to be my letter. And then how do you want it to be populated? Okay. So you can have it populate as a Google document or a PDF. A lot of times, like when we're doing our certificates of attendance, we're doing it as PDFs because we're not going to send you a Google document that, you can change. Or for example, if you're sending something to a student that says, hey, you have 15 of your 20 credit hours completed for graduation, you don't want them to be able to go into the Google document and edit that. So you can create it as a PDF. How do you want the output? Typically, you always want it as multiple output mode. This means that every document is going to be a separate PDF. So Georgia's going to get a separate one from Lauren, from Marcy, and so forth. That's why I suggested that folder because it will populate a PDF for each of these people. The single output means that it will make all of these PDFs in one file. So, kind of like the Word document, when clicked on that finish and merge, I had to scroll through 28 pages to see all of them. That is what this single output mode does. One document and it would have all 7 of you listed. The multiple output is going to have 7 separate documents. So then I'm going to click on next. Then it's going to say choose a destination folder. If your document, so my document here is in a folder because I put it in the mail merge folder, that is where it's going to be placed. If your document is in my drive, it's going to put all 7 of these into your drive folder. Not organized in any way, it's just gonna populate them there. So that's why I always suggest step 1 is create a folder and then put your document in there, and then all of your remaining documents will go. If this is not the folder that you created for this mail merge, click on choose folder. This will open up your drive so then you can pick the appropriate folder. And, oh, sorry, let's go back in there. And then this is where I'll go to the pencil because I want to continue. Oh, I never hit save. Oh, sorry. Give me 1 second. I'll catch back up real quick. Okay. And then next. And I want this as a PDF. Next, it's going into my mail merge folder. And if there's a folder here that you do not want, you can see as I hover over it, there's a trash can. So if I click on next, 6 is optional and 7 is also optional. That's more detailed. So once you start using this a lot more, 7 you might use for some merge conditions, such as if things are empty and so forth. But right now, we're just going to skip over that. 8 is how you want this shared. Do you want to share this document? If you say no, it only populates in your Google Drive, nobody else's. If you say yes, it's how do you want to share this? So I want to share this as a PDF. Do you want your collaborators to be able to reshare? So if it was a Google document, if you would want them to be able to reshare it or not. How do you want this to come, or be sent to that person? Do you want it to come from your Google address, um, or do you want it to come from a no reply? So it would say no reply at google.com. So if you say send from generic no reply, yes, it's going to say no reply at google.com. If you say no, it's going to come from your email address, whatever your email address is. Okay. Then here is where you can put your tags for your email. So I want to email this out. So I want this. So I'm going to copy and paste it. So I'm going to copy that and then I'm going to do my brackets. I'm going to paste and then close my brackets. And then my subject line. Okay. What do you want this to be? I want this to say attendance letter. And then I'm going to say thank you attending. And then it'll also attach that PDF. If I want to put any of the tags within my letter or my email message, I can put that here as well, just like I did the email address up here. So then once I hit next, step or the last step, step number 9, is how do you want this to happen. So, do you want it on the form trigger or a time trigger? So, what is the difference? A form trigger is when something is submitted in the form, it will automatically send the message. This is not attached to a form. So, really, in this case, it does not matter. And then the other is a time trigger. So, do you want to run this once a day to see if there's any new entries? Do you want to run it, every 6 hours, whatever it might be? So, if you say yes, um, you would have to confirm that you want to enable it. If you said yes to a time trigger, then it would ask you how often you want that to be. You can see the 1 hour populated, but you have up to, I believe it's up to 24 hours. But I'm gonna leave these both on no because I don't have it attached to any times and you guys are already registered. So I'm going to leave mine as no. But again, the form would be if it's attached to a Google form. Every time somebody submits, it would send it. And then the run on time trigger is based on a time frame. It would run through and see if there's any new entries. So if you and somebody else in the office is working on the same spreadsheet, maybe you're adding in parents' names that are going to be attending something, and it runs every hour, it's going to look for those that a letter hasn't been sent to, and it will send those out. So then once you are done, you can hit save, and then you will see that your um, mail merge is completed here. Now, because I did not have any triggers set, it has not ran. Okay. So if you have form trigger set to yes or time trigger set to yes, it will automatically run by itself. But because I had both of those set at no, I would click on run job. I am going to do this and you guys are going to get emails except for Tiffany. Um, I did not. Let me update you real quick. Is it Chippewa schools or Chippewa local schools? I don't remember off the top of my head. I think I'd have to go in my email. Let me look real quick because you might not be able to unmute. I just sent you guys out a message this morning. Um, oh, I was right. Chippewa schools. Okay, so that's correct. Okay, so now if I run this job, you're going to see all these extra things added. Okay, so once I hit run, you can see that it is showing that it's running. I started it at 10:13. And then once the document is created, let me see if I can get this out of the way. I can't. It's going to have the document ID, the URL in my Google Drive, in the actual document itself. So you're going to see it's going to populate. You guys will be getting emails with this. And again, it's just a generic letter. You can throw it away. But I wanted you guys to see how it ran. So as that is completing, I'm going to go back into my drive and I'm going to do a quick little refresh here and you can see that it's automatically populating these letters. So if I need to go back to them at any point in time, I can click on one and here is the letter. And then I can print it, save it, share it, whatever I need to do. But all those letters will automatically be here. Again, this is why I suggest the folder because everything went into my mail merge folder instead of my drive. Okay. And it looks like it completed because it hit Sparks. So everything is done. I can close out of here. Oop. and everybody should have their letters created. So that is the process of using Google. So again, it's using Autocrat through the spreadsheet. Any questions with that? And then if I added more, if I don't have those triggers, if I added more, I can go back into my Autocrat, go back to open, and then I can rerun from here. I can edit. So if something didn't work right, maybe I didn't have a tag correct or something, I can edit the job and go through all those 9 steps again. If I need a different job, I can create a new job from here. Okay. One last thing that I'm going to show you, and I just had one this morning. So there is a chance that you might get an email if something does not work properly or if it doesn't run on its own, but it will constantly run in the background if you have those triggers created. It will tell you that it cannot run, and it will give you a link to your spreadsheet so you can open Autocrat from there. Just pay attention. It will come from Google. I already had deleted this, but it will come from google.com only. So it is a safe link to click on, and it'll take you directly into your spreadsheet. If you are not for sure, you can always just come to your spreadsheet individually and go back into your extension Autocrat and then go through the process. Any other questions? I see Rebecca put some tips in the chat. Please make sure you check those out.